Namaskar. We say no dream too big. Correct? And that's what we're going to do today. Good evening and welcome to the webinar, everybody. Please confirm if you can hear me. Are you able to hear me? Okay. So welcome to the webinar, everybody. And I welcome all of you to this special session where we are going to discuss about 3 mega exams. We're going to discuss about 3 mega exams today, and of course, who doesn't know? JNU, AIIMS, and CSIR NET. So welcome everybody to this special webinar, and now that we have a confirmation about CSIR, HRDG conducting this exam, and of course, a lot of other stuff which is coming up as things are developing. So we wanted to update you on these 3 mega exams. And like I started with, no dream too big. Never dream too small. Anyways, you have to dream, so why not dream big? I dream big always, and I always encourage all my subscribers, all the fans of Biotechnica to dream big. This world, this universe is huge. Even if we dream big, we will not be able to create a 1% dent also to the universe. But by planning something big, by dreaming big, definitely when we target the moon, we will fall among the stars. No matter where you are from, no matter what is your background, no matter what you have done in the past, but if you dream big and if you consistently put effort in that direction, you are going to make it. I'm a living proof of that. So many people around us are a living proof of that. Our teachers are a living proof of that. So let us join hands today to discuss 2 mega exams which very less people know about, which is JNU PhD Entrance as well as AIIMS PhD Entrance exams. And of course, then we go to the second part where we'll be talking about the 60 days strategy for CSIR NET. So if you are ready and if you are excited for this particular webinar, then please post in the chat box BIO, bring it on. Let's see how many of you are excited for this webinar. Please type BIO. Bio stands for biology also. Bring it on. Let's see how many of you are excited for this webinar. Yes? Wonderful. So my dear people, my dear subscribers and fans and critics of Biotechnica, today we're not just coming to you with some informative stuff. We are also going to give you gifts. Okay? So like in the registration form we had mentioned, there's going to be a surprise gift. There's going to be a gift in the app. Okay? And there's going to be the PowerPoints which we'll be sending across to you. Okay? And we'll also be sending a lot of goodies. Okay? So if you want to grab that, and of course our ebook as well, if you want to grab all these, then I urge you to stay till the end and attend this webinar till the end. Don't forget to fill the feedback form so that I can personally send across those goodies to you. Okay? Remember, CSIR NET is 60 days away. These 2 national level exams, which is JNU PhD Entrance and AIIMS PhD Entrance, are also going to be there in the next 1 year, right? And who doesn't want to do their PhD from the top-notch institutes? You get a chance to interact with some heavyweight scholars, heavyweight life science researchers, and it helps you build a curriculum vitae where your personal brand improves the moment you write that you are a PhD from AIIMS or you are a PhD from JNU. On the top of it, the quality of projects which are happening there, the quality of research which is happening there is top-notch. So why waste time? Why not jump in and learn from the experts? What is AIIMS PhD and how to get in there? What is JNU PhD Entrance exam and how to get in there? And then our second expert. So the first expert is going to be Dr. Nupur, and she's going to talk about JNU PhD Entrance and AIIMS PhD Entrance. And second expert Dr. Violet, is going to be there to share you some amazing tips, tricks, and strategies for the last 60 days. Okay, and I will meet you at the end to give you the feedback form. Okay, so that's a promise, guys. Are you going to be there till the end? Yes? Please tell me in the chat box. Can you please be there in the webinar till the end? Yes? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. Now I will request the team members to switch. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekhar sir, for the warm welcome. Hello everyone. I welcome you to Biotecnica's webinar on JNU and AIIMS PhD Entrance exam. I'm Dr. Nupur Nagvekar and I'll be discussing about some basic information about these exams and some strategy pointers as to how to approach these exams. So let us immediately dive into this. First, we will start with JNU, that's Jawaharlal Nehru University, based out of New Delhi. Now, you may have heard of JNU in the recent news for some other reasons, but academic-wise, JNU is considered to be one of the top-notch institutes in our country. For the year 2021, its NIRF ranking was second. This ranking is given by the Ministry of Education, Government of India. On a global scale, its world ranking, QS world ranking for the year 2022 falls somewhere between 561 and 570. And this is a good ranking considering that very few Indian universities fall in the top 1000. Now, I've given the website link over here. You guys can check the website out and you can go to the academic section and you will find that there is a list of schools and centers. Now, this list of schools and centers is nothing but the various departments that are there in JNU. Now, there's a huge list of these departments, right from cultural studies to languages to arts to entrepreneurship, management studies, engineering, so on and so forth, right? But I have just listed the ones which are pertaining to biological sciences. So there is School of Life Sciences, School of Biotechnology, Special Center for Molecular Medicine, Special Center for Nanosciences. Apart from these four, there's another one that is School for Environmental Sciences. So if anybody is interested in that, you can check it out from the website. I'll be talking about these four. Now, if you look at the individual web pages for these schools or centers, these are nothing but departments, okay? So if you check out the individual web pages for these departments, you'll find a lot of information about the kind of research work that is going on. The faculties in these departments are having good H&I's. They are extensively having a lot of experience. The kind of research work, the number of patents that come out of these schools and centers, it's a lot. They also have a lot of collaborative work with many other Indian institutes. They get a lot of funding from Indian agencies as well as international agencies. And they have both kind of research work. So there's basic research work that's going on. There's also translational research work. I hope you understand the difference between the two, right? For example, if you elucidate the structure of HIV reverse transcriptase, that would be considered as basic research. But if you use that information to create a targeting drug molecule against the reverse transcriptase, that would be a translational research, right? So some of you may be interested in basic research, some of you may be interested in translational research, and you will find both kind of research work going on in these schools and special centers. School of Life Sciences and School of Biotechnology, these have been in existence for decades, okay? So these are well established. Special Center for Molecular Medicine and Special Center for Nanoscience, these are relatively new. So as you can make out, this is more interdisciplinary. You'll have to work with other people who are from a lot diverse background. But yes, these are the upcoming fields. So these are called as special centers. Now, again, like I said, academic-wise, JNU falls in the top-notch list. In fact, the first international patent filed from India was through School of Life Sciences. The tech transfer work that goes on is also extensive. They have a lot of collaborative work with industries. They have collaborative work with Panacea Biotech, Indo Bioactive, Shanta Biotech. Much of the work has been in transferring technology, for example, like anthrax vaccine or xylanase production, therapeutic protein production, so on and so forth. So you get the idea of what kind of work goes on there. Oh, they also have a biosafety level 3 laboratory, and that means that a good amount of work will be done on infectious diseases, right? Which regular universities will not be able to do. So with this background on JNU, let us now go to the exam. So how do you get into JNU for PhD? That exam is JNU EE, which is JNU Entrance exam. This is a computer-based test. The centers are distributed across India, so it's not just New Delhi. You'll have centers all across India. Those candidates which qualify this computer-based test, they will be called in for Viva. Okay. Now, you have two types of candidates applying for this. One class of candidates are the ones which don't have any JRF with them. Okay, they will have to go through the regular process. That means they'll have to give the computer-based test. If they clear it, then they'll be called for Viva. The other category are those candidates which have received some sort of JRF. Okay, it could be CSIR NET JRF, it could be DBT JRF, it could be ICMR JRF, but any type of fellowship if the candidate has, then they have an advantage. They would be exempted from the computer-based test. They'll be directly called for the Viva. Okay, so this table here, it tells you the weightage that each category has. So if you are a regular PhD candidate without any type of JRF, for you, the weightage for the final marks, so the weightage would be 70% from the computer-based test and 30% from the Viva. Whereas for NET JRF, you don't have to give the CBT, so there is no weightage for CBT, but 100% weightage is for the Viva. Okay, so yes, if you have any sort of fellowship, you have an added advantage. Not just for JNU, any university, okay, you will be welcomed with open arms. Now, applicants can opt for a maximum 3 fields of study for their choice of the exam. So when the notification comes out, you will come to know that you have to give just one application form, and in that you can have a choice of 3 papers. Okay, it's not like you have to apply for 3. You can apply for 1. The fees for that would be 530 plus some taxes or some transaction charges. If you're applying for 2 papers, then it's some 800 plus some transaction charges. And if you're applying for 3 papers, then that would be 1000 plus some transaction charges. Okay, so these fees are for 2021. I'm not sure how it changes for the next year, but it will be somewhere around this range only. Okay, and the fees that I said was for the open category. So you have to fill just one application form, and in that application form you have to indicate what are your preferences. Okay, so choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and you'll come to know once the notification is out. So the mode of examination is LAN-based computer-based test. The duration for the exam is 3 hours. There are MCQ type of questions. Total number of questions would be 100. And there's 1 mark for each question. Now they've said that it may vary. Okay, in certain subjects, the number of questions and the marks per question may vary based on the subject. So you'll come to know that as soon as the prospectus comes out. There are no negative markings, right? So it's just either 1 or 0. And English is the only language. I'm talking about biological sciences. So English is the language for these papers. Now these dates for JNU EE are tentative dates for the year 2022. Notification somewhere would come out in Feb 2022. The last date for submission of online application would be somewhere in April. The actual entrance CBT based test would be in May 2022. Then the result would be declared. Candidates would be called in for Viva, that would be July. And then the final list is released, those who have cleared the Viva also, that's July, and the final deadline for admission would be somewhere around that. So by the time August comes, the academic year will start for you guys. Okay, now let me try and stress on this, that these dates are tentative. Okay, for the year 2021, the entire schedule was running late. So their list of candidates came out now in the month of October. Okay, so that was because of COVID. But if there's no interference by COVID and if things go smoothly, then roughly these are the dates. So you have to be on the lookout for the notice of this exam from Jan 2022 onwards. Now let us look at the syllabus. Like I said, there are different schools, different departments and different centers. So the syllabus changes accordingly. Now, specifically within the School of Life Sciences, there are 5 groups. Okay. Here the groups are given, group 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And on the next slide, I've given what each group is. So basically the kind of research work that goes on is different. For group 1, it is everything to do with plants, plant biology, virology, plant biotechnology. Group 2 is micro, immunology, infectious diseases, radiation and cancer biology. Group 3 is genetics, cell and mol bio and developmental biology. Group 4, animal physiology, neurosciences, systems biology. And group 5 is biochemistry, biophysics, bioinfo and nanobiology. Now, School of Life Sciences is the one where you have these 5 groups. Okay, when you're filling the application form, I told you you have a choice of 3. Right? You may just apply for a single paper, but you may apply for 2 papers also, you may apply for 3 papers also. So in that you can have a maximum of 2 choices from School of Life Science. Okay. For example, if your first choice is group 1 of School of Life Science, so this is your first choice, then the max other choice that you can have from School of Life Science is just another one. Okay, so for example, if this is your second choice, then that's it. If you are taking a third paper, then it cannot be from any of these remaining 3 groups. It could be School of Biotechnology or Molecular Medicine or something like that. Okay, so you will understand that this once the prospectus is out. Now, the syllabus. For School of Life Science, they have clearly said that they have not specified any specific syllabus. But the candidates are advised to consult CSIR UGC NET JRF syllabus for guidance. So they have clearly said that they will follow CSIR UGC NET JRF syllabus for the entrance exam for PhD in the School of Life Sciences. The second one is School of Biotechnology. Now in this there are no groups. Okay, so one of your papers could be just School of Biotechnology. When you are applying, if this is your first preference, then that's it. School of Biotechnology does not have any further groups in it. Here for the syllabus, they have clearly mentioned what subjects are there in the syllabus. Okay, so you can see it's a very extensive list. I won't go through all of it, but I'll just tell you that much of it is overlapping with the CSIR syllabus and also the GATE syllabus, like GATE BT syllabus, like downstream processing, bioprocess engineering, mathematics and statistics and so on and so forth. There are some topics which are not there in CSIR as well as GATE syllabus. Some of them like bioentrepreneurship, IPR, bioethics, biosafety and some other topics here and there. These are different, but nonetheless about 85% of the portion overlaps with CSIR and GATE BT syllabus. The next one is Special Center for Molecular Medicine. Here again there are no further groupings, so this is one entire paper as such. So you have one section which is just aptitude, logic, reasoning, such questions, research methodology, and you can see there's basic maths, basic chemistry, physics, basic biology. Okay, so this makes one part which is section A. By the way, all papers will have one section which is going to test you for your aptitude and research methodology. Then there is subject specific. So that's section B. Okay, so here also you can see that there are some topics which are different, like pharmacology, medicinal chemistry. These are highly specific. So if you have studied that, then you will be able to answer. But the other subjects here are all again overlapping with CSIR syllabus. The last one is Special Center for Nanosciences. This is again not further divided into any group. Here also you have part A, which is General Aptitude Research Methodology. And then there is part B, which is subject specific. Now, because nanosciences is highly interdisciplinary, you will find that in part B, they have given 4 options, right? There's physical sciences, biological sciences, chemical sciences, and engineering sciences. I will only be telling you about the syllabus for biological sciences. So, a candidate can choose any one of the subject streams. Okay, so if you are from biological science, you will choose this only in part B. The syllabus for biological science is completely taken from CSIR. So you can see there's biomolecules and their interactions, cell biology, fundamental processes, immunology, genetics, human physiology. It's just picked up from the CSIR syllabus. Okay, so this is the syllabus for the 2 schools and the 2 special centers. And here now I would like to give you some strategy pointers for this exam. Some of these are highly generic, but still nonetheless I would like to discuss those with you. Now the first one is that you have to extensively research those departments, you know, the individual schools and centers that you are interested in. That's the very first thing I told you, that go to the website, go to the academic section and check out the web pages for those individual schools and centers. Go through the research areas that they have listed there. Not just that, go through the previous work that was done. You'll find the list of students, you'll find what PhDs that they, the topics in which they are awarded their PhDs. Then you can go through their current work, the different patents that they have got, publications, etc. done by the faculty. Okay. You may contact some previous or current students to get their inputs. You can do this via, sites like LinkedIn and all. Just be very gentle when you are approaching and see if they are willing to help you. Now, when the prospectus comes out, it does not come out yet, but when it comes out, you have to thoroughly go through it, thoroughly go through the syllabus of the respective schools and centers. You have to understand the exam pattern and the marking scheme, which we have discussed, right? During online application, this is very important. You have to choose the papers wisely. So, if you are applying for just one paper, then not a problem. Whatever field is your stronghold, you go for that. If you are choosing 3 papers, then it's important what is your first choice, second choice, and third choice. If you clear the CVT and you are called for Viva and you perform well, your first choice will be given preference. But if you don't, if you are lacking somewhere, then you may not get your first choice, your first preference, but you may get maybe second or the third one, right? It's based on the merit and based on the seats that are available. So this is one point. Now, an important point is to study smart. Now, what do I mean by this? We just saw in the previous slides that there's a lot of overlapping with the CSIR syllabus and the GATE syllabus, right? Now, take for example CSIR. CSIR has 13 units. How do you study for this? Let's say tentatively the exam, if it is in May, you have roughly 5 to 6 months to prepare for this. So how do you go about it? Do you dive head first, start preparing for all the 13 units? That's not a good strategy. You have to go through the syllabus and find out your stronghold units. Okay, find out those units which are your stronghold. Those are the ones which you know very well, you have studied it in your masters or lower classes, you're comfortable with, you understand, that's your stronghold unit, and you start studying those first. And when I say study, it means you have to understand it in depth. Okay, so for these exams, just superficial study is not enough. Don't think that, yes, I have 6 months, I'm going to cram all the 13 units. That's not going to help you. You have to take individual units and then you have to go in depth of each. It is okay if you're not covering all the 13 units. Okay, say 9 out of 13 or max 10 out of 13 is good enough. But the point I'm stressing is whichever units you choose, you have to make sure that you study it in depth, in detail. Okay. Now, preparatory and standard reference books, Biotechnica helps you a lot with those. We have a list of those and you can get your hands on those reference books for the study, preparatory books also. And having a timetable obviously is going to help. Now, another important point is solving a lot of exam papers. Now, one good thing about the JNU entrance exam is that it's conducted by NTA, that's the National Testing Agency. So, you can go to the NTA website and in the download section, or it will come on the top right, you'll find a drop down menu basically. There you fill the year. Okay, say 2020 or 2019, and you fill in which exam paper you are looking for. So you in the drop down menu search for JNU, and there will be another drop down menu where you search for that specific department. Okay, say for example you want the question paper for molecular medicine. So in the drop down you search for molecular medicine and you will get the exam paper. Okay, so previous year exam papers are easily available on the NTA website specifically for JNU. You can look through that, you can solve those papers, you can get similar papers. There's a lot of material available online. Biotechnica helps you a lot with a lot of material. So you get your hands on those, try and solve as many papers as possible. And revision is something that I cannot stress enough. Okay, the reason I said you have to start with your stronghold units is because that is something which is already embedded. When you take in new information, there's always tendency to lose some of the previous information that you stored in your brain. That is, happens all the time. So, without revision, you're going to lose a lot of stored information that you had studied earlier. The only thing you can do to counter that is constant revision. Once you have done your stronghold units, then you move on to other units which are not your stronghold units, and you can spend some time in understanding those units, but that comes later. Along with that, you have to do constant revision for the earlier topics. And when I say revision, I don't mean that you study today and after 6 months go for revision. No, revision has to be constant. It has to be continuous. Only then it can help you in the exam. Okay, so these are some strategy pointers for preparation of JNU EE. And just a little bit about comparison with the syllabus. So like we already discussed, the syllabus for School of Life Science is about 100% overlap with the CSIR UGC NET syllabus. The syllabus of biotechnology has about 85% overlap with CSIR NET and GATE BT syllabus. Special Center for Molecular Medicine has about 85% overlap with NET and GATE BT syllabus. And nanosciences, specifically biological sciences, Part B choice, it has 100% overlap with CSIR NET syllabus. So with this, I just want to bring to your notice that those candidates who are studying for CSIR UGC NET, they have an added advantage. Those candidates who have cleared CSIR UGC NET, well, like I said, you will be welcomed with open arms in any institute. But those who are studying for CSIR UGC NET, you can prepare for these exams simultaneously. You can solve the JNU papers from the NTA website simultaneously, and that will give you an idea as to how to approach these exams. The second one I'll be talking about is AIIMS. That's All India Institute of Medical Sciences, which is based out of New Delhi. Now, before I go ahead, I just want to clarify that there are other AIIMS institutes also. Okay, like there's AIIMS Bhubaneswar, AIIMS Bhopal, Patna, etc. Right? Some of these institutes would have their own PhD entrance exam. Okay. So I won't be talking about that. If you are interested in those, you'll have to go to that specific site. Okay, say for example, AIIMS Bhubaneswar or AIIMS Bhopal. You'll have to go to that particular site and you'll have to see the, what is their requirement for PhD, when is their entrance exam. I'll be talking about AIIMS New Delhi. It's because this is the most premier institute among all of them, and AIIMS New Delhi has the maximum number of seats. If you compare PhD seats and all others, AIIMS New Delhi has the maximum number of seats available for PhD, and that is why we'll be talking about this. So how will this be different from JNU? Well, medical science is a subset of biological science, right? So much of the research work that goes on is pertaining to medical sciences, and you will see this as we go ahead. So here is the link to the website from where you'll come to know the notification, the available prospectus, etc. for the upcoming exam. Now, for the PhD entrance exam, the mode of exam is again CBT, online test, LAN based, but the center is only Delhi NCR. Okay, so it's not pan India, it's only Delhi NCR. You'll have to travel there for both, all the stages of the exam. Duration of exam is 90 minutes, stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, so there are two stages. What is stage 1 and stage 2? Stage 1 is aptitude related, logic, reasoning, numerical aptitude, etc., and covering English also. So that would be 30 questions. And stage 2 would be specific subject related, that would be 40 questions. So that is stage 1 and stage 2, together 90 minutes. The date of exam is not announced yet. Tentatively we will see in which month it comes. There's only one shift for the exam. Language is English, objective MCQ type questions, and there is negative marking here. So correct answers get +1 and incorrect answers get -1/3 of the mark, and no mark for unanswered or marked for review. Now cutoff in stage 1 and stage 2 together. Okay, so you have given the CBT based test. If you get at least 35 in both stage 1 and stage 2 combined, then you are eligible for stage 3. Now what is stage 3? Stage 3 is not Viva. Stage 3 is a departmental practical lab based assessment, which carries around 20 marks. Okay, so you may have some Viva component to it, but it's majorly practical or a lab based assessment. Now, one good thing about this AIIMS exam is that they clearly tell you which seats are available. Okay, this is a screenshot from 2021 prospectus, and you will see that they have given the various departments. Total there are 30 departments, and which seats, how many seats are available in each department, and they have also given what exact research work. Okay, what is the title of that project? Even that they have given in the prospectus. So you have a very good idea as to what you are applying for. Now you can see here, yes, about 30 departments, and you have the seats that are available. So total some 78 seats were available for the 2021 examination. Now in this 78, all the seats are not open to everybody. Okay, now you can see that the seats are classified as something called as FA and OF. Now what is this? FA is fellowship available. OF is own fellowship. Okay, in simple words, OF is applicable to those candidates who have some sort of fellowship. CSIR, JRF, DBT JRF, ICMR JRF, some sort of JRF fellowship you have, that is own fellowship, OF. FA is funding available or funds available. So for that particular project, the funds are available. Any non-JRF candidate, a person who does not have any sort of fellowship, can apply to FA seats only. So for example, in the Department of Anatomy, you can see that there is one seat available for those candidates who don't have any fellowship, and 2 seats available to those candidates who have fellowship. Okay, now roughly the sad news is that, you know, this category has more seats. So they would prefer candidates who have their own fellowship. That is the bottom line. Okay, again, this is a screenshot of the 2021 prospectus. So you can see here, these are different departments. The seats are given in each total, and they have clarified as to how many seats are funding available, how many seats are own fellowship. They've given the qualification for that particular project, and they have clearly given the project title. Okay, so for this project, there's only 1 seat available, which is has funding. It has funding from ICMR. So any non-JRF candidate can apply here. So for example, this one is unraveling the genetic intersection between male infertility and cancer, the role of yoga intervention. So this is clearly they've given the project titles in each for each project in each department. So it's a very extensive list, and whenever the prospectus comes out for 2022, I would suggest you go through this list very carefully before applying for the application. Now, candidates will be eligible only for the seats in the department that they have applied for. If you apply for biochemistry, you will only be eligible for those particular projects. Candidates will be allotted seats in the order of their merit in the exam, that is given. Candidates with their own government fellowship can choose either OF or FA seats. If you have your own government fellowship, you can choose a project which is either OF or FA. See, this is FA. Okay, ICMR has funding available. A candidate who has fellowship can apply for this project also, or they can apply for any OF project also. So they have an advantage. Candidates with their own fellowship have an advantage. Candidates without government fellowship can only choose the FA seats. So only the projects where FA is written, those are the ones who can, which can be chosen by candidates without fellowship. So these again are tentative dates. Uploading prospectus, the prospectus notification will be out in February 2022. The last date for submission around same time. Date of entrance, March 2022. Result declaration, March. Departmental assessment, March. Final result, March. Last date for joining the program is April. So, in simple words, within a period of 2 to 3 months, this entire examination gets done, and you will come to know whether you have cleared or not. Again, I'm stressing these are tentative dates, may get pushed forward because of the COVID situation if anything arises, and I suggest you keep a lookout for the notification from Jan 2022 onwards. Now, the strategy for preparation is almost the same. Okay, what we discussed for JNU AIIMS is the same here, and just a few points that here they clearly mention which project, the title of the project that is open, right? So you have to choose the department very carefully. You have to study the project title from the prospectus. You have to see which seats are available. Okay, is it FA or OF, which category you fall in? So the syllabus also overlaps more with the entrance level exams, like MSc and MTech syllabus overlaps here. So if you have done that, that will also help you. But CSIR syllabus will help you more, okay, because you will be prepared more. But other points are almost the same, study smart, get the reference books, try to get your hands on the previous year questions, make a timetable for study, and revision. I cannot stress this enough. Revision is very important. Now, as we discussed earlier, those candidates which have CSIR UGC NET, JRF, ICMR JRF, DBT JRF, some sort of fellowship, government fellowship, they have special weightage in the exam. Okay, so those guys who are studying for this exam, or you have cleared these exams, you will always be at an advantage whenever you're applying for any other institute's PhD exam. Alright, so with this, I've come to the end of my talk. Thank you very much for being so patient with me. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Nupur, for such an enlightening session, for giving us all the required details for applying for JNU PhD as well as for AIIMS PhD Entrance exam. A very good evening to all of you present over here. I am Dr. Violet, and before I start, please let me know if I'm audible and if you are able to see the slides. Okay. I see a lot of yes coming up. Thank you everyone for confirming. Yes. So today we have gathered over here for the topic that we will be discussing is how to prepare for CSIR NET in 60 days. Yes. You heard me right. We are going to talk about what kind of preparation is needed so that you can clear the CSIR NET exam, but yes, the time is less. We have just 60 days. But one thing that I want to tell you all before I start is whether it is 6 months or whether it is 60 days. If you believe in yourself and definitely if you have that zeal to work hard and to put in all your efforts, okay, so believe me, you can achieve this daunting task of clearing CSIR NET in just preparing for 60 days and then clearing it. Yes, so what you need to do over here is you have to believe in your infinite potential. You have to believe that you have the potential so that you can clear CSIR NET by preparing just for 60 days. So let's get started. So we have to start with this notion in mind that preparation is the key to the success. So, the date of examination, yes, it has been declared that it is 29 January 2022. So, how many days are left? Approximately 60 days if you all can calculate. So, should we sit back and relax? That is what we have to do because there is just 60 days. We don't have much days. So should we sit back? No, right? That is not what we are meant for. 60 days is just sufficient, okay, to prepare and prepare in such a way that you can clear the CSIR NET exam. Believe me, it is possible, right? So, are you all ready for that? You know, if you have that zeal in you, if you believe that you can clear CSIR NET, okay, so believe me, it is possible. And everything can be achieved by planning and management. So that is what today we are going to discuss over here. How to plan properly and how to manage. When we talk about management, means you have time that is precious, okay, you have just 60 days and you can calculate how much time is there. Every day you have 24 hours. Definitely we are not going to study for 24 hours, right? So we have to do a proper planning and time management, right? So if all of you are ready for it, then we can get started and the path will be clear for you all, right? Can I see a yes if you all are ready for it? Okay? Okay. Thank you everyone. Yes, definitely. Okay. So we'll start with this positive note that nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I am possible, by Audrey Hepburn. Yes, this is something that I really believe. Nothing is impossible. The word impossible, if you see, it itself says, I am possible. So if you believe in yourself, everything is achievable. Okay, you have to just believe in the potential, the infinite potential that you have, right? So only what is limiting is your own self, right? Your only limitations are those you set upon yourself, as stated by Bennett. So with this note, let's get started. So first we are going to talk about the CSIR syllabus. When we talk about CSIR exam, so let me make this thing very clear. CSIR is not an easy exam, right? Otherwise everybody could have cleared it. Everybody would have become a researcher. But CSIR is not an easy exam, but it is something that is achievable. You can clear this exam, right? If your friends can clear, then each one of you present over here has the potential to clear this exam. So, for clearing this exam, the first thing that has to be done is you should know your syllabus. So, the first unit talks about molecules and their interaction relative to biology. So, this is basically about biochemistry. So, over here in this topic, the unit 1, okay, so you have 13 units as you can see over here. So, the first unit is all about the biomolecules, the macromolecules, right? You have to know about carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, Ramachandran plots. So all this is included in unit 1. Unit 2 is cellular organization. Cellular organization means it is more related to the various cell organelles, okay, the cytoskeletal structure, right? Then you have cell cycle, you have microbial physiology. Then comes fundamental processes. So this is unit 3. Fundamental processes is all about transcription, translation, okay, gene regulation. Then unit 4 is cell communication and cell signaling. So this is a very important unit and it has around 5 subunits. So here in cell communication and cell signaling, you need to know about cell-to-cell communication, you need to know about the signaling pathways, okay, even immunology is a part of it, host-parasite interactions, right? Then next is developmental biology. So developmental biology comes under unit 5, right? So in developmental biology, basically you have to know about the development stages, okay, and it includes both the animal development as well as the plant development part, right? Next is unit 6. Unit 6 is system physiology, plant, okay, means here you are going to know about photosynthesis, okay, so everything associated with plants, the stress physiology associated with plants, right, the secondary metabolites, so all that is included in unit 6. Unit 7 is system physiology animal. So when we talk about animal physiology, so basically you will be talking about human physiology, where you will be, you need to know about excretory system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, endocrinology, nervous system, right? Then is unit 8. Unit 8 is inheritance biology. Inheritance biology, what all it includes? Basically it's, it has the Mendelian genetics, okay, you need to know about the mutation part. Then there is extra chromosomal inheritance that is included over here in unit 8. Then you have quantitative genetics, you have microbial genetics. So it is all related to genetics. That is your unit 8. Then comes unit 9, diversity of life forms. Unit 9 is comparatively, it is a small unit. So basically here it is all about principles and methods of taxonomy. Then you will, you have to know about organisms of health and agricultural importance. Even the conservation part will be associated with this particular unit, right? Then is unit 10. It is ecological principles, means all about ecology. Unit 10 includes population ecology, it includes species interaction, the ecosystem ecology, right, biogeography. So all this comes in unit 10. Now next is Unit 11. Unit 11 is about evolution and behavior. So evolution and behavior, the term itself means like you have to know about the various evolutionary thoughts, the emergence of various evolutionary thoughts, what all concepts, what all theories have been given for evolution, right? Origin of cells and unicellular evolution, the molecular evolution, the various mechanisms associated with it. Then is Unit 12. Unit 12 is applied biology. Applied biology will include microbial fermentation, it will include transgenic animals and plants, bioresource, as well as uses of the biodiversity, biosensors. So all this comes in Unit 12. Next is Unit 13. Unit 13 is methods in biology. Now methods in biology will include the various rDNA technology, okay, cloning, then RFLP, RAPD. So all this is included in Unit 13. Apart from that, you have electrophysiological methods, you have microscopic techniques, statistical methods, right? So first thing, when we are preparing for any exam, you need to know the syllabus, right? Now what we see over here is there are 13 units, okay? And now that you know what are those units, so next, what should be a next step is, now you have to ask this question, and many of you all might be also thinking like, do we have to study all units? Now the answer is no. I spoke about 13 units, okay, but it is not necessary that you have to study all 13 units. And frankly speaking, it is not possible that anyone can study all 13 units and then go and write the exam, because first thing is it is not necessary to study all the 13 units, and second point over here is it is not possible, right? Because we saw that there are so many topics and it is not even wise to study all these 13 units. Let me frankly tell you that, okay, it is not wise. If somebody says I have studied all the 13 units, then I won't not take it as a very wise statement, right? So what is required is, in this 13 units, the first thing, the first step for preparing for CSIR NET exam is select 7 to 8 units. Yes, I see many of you all getting a sense of relief. Why? Because we have to just study 7 to 8 units. Yes. And now, so when you are selecting this 7 to 8 units, so you can keep in mind some of the very important units. Okay, so what are those important units? Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5, Unit 8, Unit 10, as well as Unit 13. Okay, so these are some of the very important units. Okay, but I'm not saying that, if you are not comfortable, suppose, with Unit 5, you can skip this unit and you can select maybe Unit 6. Okay, that is up to you. That is also fine. But yes, if you can go through and if you can study all these units that I have mentioned over here, the important units, so it will be really helpful in clearing the CSIR NET exam. Because how these important units have been selected, it is based on the number of questions that are asked from these units. Okay, so you'll find that a lot of questions are asked from this unit, and the questions are not very tricky. Yes, if you have studied the units, you can easily solve those questions. You need to know the concept, okay, you need to know the theory behind it, and definitely the various Part C questions that are asked associated with these units, it can be solved easily if you have studied these units, right? Now, next is, now when I said that these are the important units, so you should also know the important topics, right? Because if you go through the syllabus in details, if you have went through the syllabus, you will see that the syllabus is quite huge, right? If you have gone through immunology over here in Unit 4, it is just a sub-unit of Unit 4. But if you know, immunology has one full textbook that you have to study, that is QB, right? So, Now, you cannot study the whole textbook, right? So what is important? To know what are important topics, right? So what is important in Unit 2 basically is membrane structure and function. You need to know lipid rafts, okay? FRAP, that is FRAP technique, various types of ion channels, pumps, transporters, their inhibitors, cytoskeletal cellular fractionation, protein transport pathways to various organelles. Okay, so why these are important? Because the questions are asked specifically from these particular topics. Okay, so it is not necessary that you have to study the the structure of chloroplast, because that we are talking about cellular organization, because questions are not asked from those topics, right? Now, next is Unit 3. Unit 3, some of the important topics I have mentioned over here. You need to know Messelson-Stahl experiment, prokaryotic and eukaryotic replication, the different types of DNA polymerases, their specific functions. Telomere replication is one of the important topics. Then DNA damage, mutations, the various repair pathways. Another important topic over here is transcription factors that are involved in prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. Then what is RNA editing? When specifically you talk about protein synthesis, then the ribosomes, okay, the role of ribosomes, different types of ribosomes, okay, the subunits, the initiation and elongation factors involved in protein synthesis, the post-translational modifications, FAR gene regulation, gene silencing methods, RNA interference. So these are the important topics associated with Unit 3. Now Unit 4 is a it's a big unit, but it is comparatively easy unit. Why I say easy? Because if you talk about first topic, that is cell signaling. So cell signaling is you have a pathway, right? So if you know the pathway, easily you can solve the questions that is associated with it. Okay, and the questions are usually very direct, right? So what all is important over here? G protein coupled receptors, receptor tyrosine kinases, MAP kinase pathway, JAK-STAT pathway, okay, WNT pathway, Hedgehog pathway, TGF beta pathway. So just you can see, okay, there are certain pathways that you need to know, right? Then cell communication. Cell communication is all about knowing. It's a very simple topic. Why I say simple? Because you don't have to understand much over here. You have to just, there are some topics that you need to know. You need to memorize that. Okay, what are the various components of extracellular matrix, their structure, their functions, cell-to-cell interactions. Okay, what are the various junctions, right? Like we know that there are tight junctions, gap junctions, adherent junctions, right? So like that, the cell-to-matrix interactions, the different type of cell adhesion molecules and their functions. So these are some of the topics from where you will usually find CSIR asked questions. Okay, and the questions are not very difficult. Why I say it is not difficult? Because when you go through the question paper, you will see that the questions are usually match the following type of questions, right? So it is quite scoring. Next is cancer. Cancer is one of the interesting topics, and CSIR does ask questions from here. Okay, so related to cancer, what all you need to study in this topic is the various, the cancer genetics, okay, genetics of cancer that we say, then apoptosis, all types of tumor suppressor genes, oncogenes with specific function and characteristics, the mutational effects of these genes, what happens if there is any mutation, okay, then their relation with the cell cycle, anti-cancer drug source, the mode of action of certain drugs like methotrexate, tamoxifen, right? Then coming to immunology. Immunology is a vast topic, but yes, there are certain very important topics that you need to know, like antibody structure and function, cytokines, antigen processing, presentation, B and T cell maturation, activation, complement system you need to know, hypersensitivity. You need to know the structure of MHC, right? So MHC molecules as well as their role in histocompatibility. Next important unit I said is Unit 5. So in Unit 5, what all is important? Terms and terminologies, fusion of egg and sperm in model organisms, like you need to know how in sea urchin it occurs, or amphibians, mammals, what is capacitation, types of egg and various cleavage patterns, examples of organisms in which it takes place, the fate maps, gastrulation and axis formation, okay, in sea urchin, in C. elegans, amphibians, zebrafish, chick, and mammals. Then next important is Drosophila developmental stages. So all types of maternal and zygotic genes involved with the detailed process of function. You need to know organogenesis, sex determination in Drosophila and mammals, signaling pathways involved in development. Next is Unit 8. Unit 8 will include Mendelian ratios that you need to know, their statistics, certain terms like what is codominance, incomplete dominance, pleiotropy, genomic imprinting, penetrance, expressivity, phenocopy, linkage, crossing over, sex linkage, what is sex-limited and sex-influenced characters, maternal inheritance, various gene interactions, pedigree-based questions, ABO blood grouping, multiple genes, complementation, mitotic and meiotic non-disjunction, tetrad analysis is another very important topic in Unit 8. Then microbial genetics and interrupted mating experiments. So you will see a lot of questions are asked from here. Okay, so these are the important topics for Unit 8. Next, talking about Unit 10. So here the important topics are major biomes of the world you need to know, structure and components of different types of ecosystems, okay, like the terrestrial, forest, grassland, and aquatic ecosystems. Then you need to know the rules in ecology, like you need to know the Bergman's rule, Allen's rule, Glogger's rule. Then we have Yoda's law. Okay, then there is R and K selection, that is very important. You need to know Hardy-Weinberg law because a lot of questions are asked from this topic. Gene pool, concepts and rate of change in gene frequency through natural selection. Then another very important topic is survivorship curves, biosphere reserves and sanctuaries in different states of India. Recent concerns like anthropological project Tiger. So these are some important topics related to Unit 10. In Unit 13, again it is a vast topic, but yes, the important topics you have to go through it. RNA, DNA and protein isolation is important. The various analytical techniques, cloning, recombinant protein expression, genomic and cDNA libraries are important. Gene knockout, DNA and protein sequencing, gene expression analysis at RNA and protein level, microarrays, RFLP, RAPD, AFLP techniques, then the immunological techniques like ELISA, RIA, Western blot, immunoprecipitation, flow cytometry, immunofluorescence microscopy, FISH, GISH, the biophysical methods like UV visible fluorescence microscopy, circular dichroism, NMR, ESR spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction, NMR, different types of mass spectrometry, the various statistical methods. Okay, so many students, they skip this statistical methods, but let me tell you all, this is also important because definitely one question they do ask from statistical methods. Probability distributions like binomial, Poisson, normal, t-test, chi-square test, radio labeling techniques, microscopic techniques, scanning electron microscopy, transmission electron microscopy, freeze etch and freeze fracture methods, the various electrophysiological methods like single neuron recording, patch clamp recording, ECG, brain activity recording, PET, MRI, fMRI, CAT. So all these are the important topics that are associated with Unit 13. Now, once you have understood what are the important topics, next you have to refer the standard reference books. So some of the standard reference books I have mentioned over here, like for immunology we have QB for Unit 2, as well as for many topics of Unit 4 you can refer Cell and Molecular Biology by Gerald Karp. For developmental biology, Gilbert is one of the best book. Then for Unit 3, that is the fundamentals, So for that, you can refer Molecular Biology of the Gene by Watson, right? Then for ecology, you can always refer Odum. For genetics, Gardner is one of the best books. Then for Unit 13, you have various books like for gene manipulation and genomics, you can refer Primrose. For gene cloning and DNA analysis, you can refer T.A. Brown. For the various techniques, okay, you can refer Wilson and Walker. Okay. So always remember, whenever you are studying, it is very important that you should go for standard reference books, right? Then next important point to be noted is the pattern of the exam, right? If you have studied everything, you have studied the important units, okay, you know the important topics, but if you don't know the pattern of the exam, again this is where you are going to lose, right? Because now once when you see the pattern of exam, you will understand why it is important to know the pattern of the exam. So what is the pattern of the exam for CSIR NET? We have Part A, Part B and Part C. In Part A, that is basically aptitude questions are asked. So here you get a choice. So they give you 20 questions, out of which you have to attempt only 15 questions. And each question is of 2 marks. So in total, you have to score 30 marks. In Part B, there are 50 questions, and in that 50 questions, you have to just solve 35 questions. And now 35, each question is of 2 marks, it becomes 70 marks. Now coming to Part C, Part C has around 75 questions. Now in that 75, you can see over here that you have to only attempt 25 questions. So 25 into 4, it becomes 100 marks. So in total, you have the question paper is for 200 marks. Okay. Now if you see over here, only 25 questions you have to answer. So that is why I said it is not wise to select all the 13 units. So whatever time you have, you channelize your time, your energy in studying at least 8 units and you are bound to succeed. Now you need to know the minimum cutoff percentage that you need to achieve so that you can clear CSIR NET JRF. So this minimum cutoff percentage was for the 2020 exam that was held in November. So category, the percentage required was 98.94. So you have to make sure that you get 98.94 percentage or above JRF net, and for LS it is little less, it is 97.18, right? So next is about the score that you need to get to become a JRF. So over here, this is one of the scorecard of one of our students. So in Part A, she secured 21 marks, Part B 32.5 and Part C 91 marks. So in total, she scored around 144 marks. So what we need to understand over here is to become a JRF, to be on the safer side, minimum you should score around 130 to 140. Okay. And then there is a NTA score that is mentioned over here. Now this NTA score is not the percentage. Okay. So the NTA score is actually the, it depends on how it is calculated is, it is based on the percentage of candidates who have secured equal to or below that particular candidate in that session. So based on that, this NTA score is prepared. Okay. Now, important point that has to be noted over here is don't miss the general aptitude. Okay. General aptitude will include numerical ability, reasoning based questions, mental ability. Okay. So general aptitude, many of the the bio students, they feel that aptitude is something that they cannot solve, but it is not like that. You need to practice general aptitude questions, because if you miss this Part A, so you will definitely you will lose on becoming a JRF. So Part A questions, when you solve, it actually gives you those extra marks that is required to become a JRF. Now, what's the plan? So, you know that we have to select 8 units. you know what are the important topics that are associated with those particular important units, and then we have 60 days. So in that 60 days, what we can do is we can allot 7 days for each unit. Okay, and each day you have to also practice some aptitude questions as well. Okay, in this way you can go for both your subject-based units as well as aptitude preparation. Now Sundays, that is once in a week, on Sundays you can keep it for question solving, right? Okay, so here next step what you need to do is prepare a timetable. So this is how you can prepare a timetable. You can write the month, date, day, unit, topic, how much hours. Again, like again I have mentioned unit, like because I said along with that particular unit you also need to solve aptitude. Then again for aptitude, how much hours, what are the topics. So in total, if you see in a day, suppose if you have started with unit 2, today is 25th, tomorrow is 26th. So from tomorrow if you start studying, seriously preparing for CSIR NET exam. So this is how you need to prepare the timetable. For the various units you can allot 6 hours, and for aptitude you can allot 2 hours. And then whatever is achieved you should put a tick, and you should make sure that everywhere, every day you put a green tick, right? Next important point is you should keep the images, figures and diagrams at hand. Why? Because time is less. You cannot afford to waste a lot of time in studying whole of the textbooks, right? So the various figures, like in complement pathway in immunology, if you have studied, so there are 3 different pathways, and this figure will actually help you. So it is like a summary. So if you know this figure, you need not go through those 30-40 pages of complement pathway, the textbook, right? Yes. So another example that I have shown you is one of the examples of RAA system. So here also, if you know the figure, okay, if you understand the figure, so this is, everything is mentioned in the, so in this way it will lessen the time that is required for preparing. Now next, during preparation, what is important is group discussion. Okay, why group discussion is important? Suppose you have 4-5 students, okay, and you all are, suppose if I say you all are studying unit 2, okay, and when you discuss, so you get to know whatever you are not understanding, right? Suppose one of your friends has very well understood meiosis but facing any difficulty with that particular topic. So in this way the questions get resolved. So group discussion is very important, and it saves your time as well, because you need not again go back, you need not study again, need not keep on reading through those lines again and again. So group discussion actually saves time. Next, very important is during these preparation time, solve previous year question papers. Okay, so as I said, every when we are preparing the timetable, every Sundays you can keep it for solving the previous year question papers. Why previous year question paper solving is important? First thing, it gives you an idea of how the questions are asked. What is the pattern of the questions? Okay, and at the same time you will see that the questions, they are very similar. Okay, if you go through the past 10-year question papers, you will see that some of the questions are very similar. They are not exactly identical, but yes, they are similar, right? Then next important point is time management. So already you have prepared the timetable, okay, as I have suggested. It is very important. First thing for time management is, because you have only 60 days, so time management is your priority. Prepare a detailed timetable, okay, follow the timetable strictly, but yes, when you get saturated, do take breaks, okay, and whatever you have decided, the target for that day, make sure that you finish it, okay, and then again, yes, next day again you need to repeat that. Next, during preparation, very important to test yourself. How will you test yourself? So once you have gone through the question papers, You are able to solve the questions. So you need to solve. Okay, you need to solve the mock test papers. You need to solve the AIIMS NET test series. You'll find it in Biotechnica portal. So all this will actually help you in testing yourself. So you prepare yourself for the exam in this way, right? Next is effective studying. So for effective studying, first thing that you need to know is you need to highlight the key concepts, right? So whenever you are studying the topic for the first time, highlight whatever is important, okay, the key concepts. Then next is be your own teacher. So be your own teacher means you need to explain that particular topic, whatever you are studying, to yourself. So you have to explain it such a way, like you have to consider that you are a teacher and you are explaining it to the students. Next important point is prepare flashcards, right? Flashcards will save you a lot of time. Next is mnemonics. Okay, mnemonics is basically a strategy. So to remember whatever is difficult, okay, something that is difficult. So if you use mnemonics, you can easily remember that particular topic, right? For example, if I say in Unit 9, you need to know the various order of taxa, right? Like domain, kingdom. So after domain, kingdom comes then phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So you can remember certain rhymes, you can keep certain acronyms, right? Like for this, we have Dear King, Philip came over for good soup, right? So in this way, it will really help you in remembering the difficult topics. Then revise is something that is very important, whatever you have studied. So at least 2 weeks before the exam, you need to revise, right? Because if you don't revise, you will forget whatever you have studied. So revision is very important. So for revision, when you're doing the revision, so what you're doing, you're actually practicing, right? So practice is the key to success. Always remember. So that is why the first thing for in practicing comes revision. Then definitely go for unit tests, weekly tests, monthly tests. So all these tests actually prepare you for the main final exam. Solve previous year question papers, okay, solve mock test. You can even go for the question banks, okay, the ToughNet series that Biotechnica provides. So all this actually helps you to practice, and as we know, genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work, as mentioned by Albert Einstein. So what we are doing, we are actually, we are doing a lot of hard work when you are practicing, and that is what is required to clear CSIR NET exam. So the strategy for preparation is the most important topics have to be covered first. So already you know what is important unit, what is important topic. Write down all the formulas. So wherever the formulas are present, like Hardy-Weinberg law, okay, then in spectroscopy. So wherever you see formulas are involved, write it down in a sheet of paper, okay, and based on those formulas, practice the numerical questions associated with it. And then definitely, as I said, part C is very important. Okay, so try and look for applications of the concepts for part C based question. So this will actually help you in solving more questions from part C. So as we saw in the scorecard, the students scored highest in part C. So part C is actually the key to become a JRF, because it will help you to gain more marks. Then yes, hard work is important, but along with that, some smart tricks also you need to follow for preparation. First thing, use charts, okay, save your time, use tables, go through the tables. Like for vaccines, you have tables. For one of the examples I'm just giving, okay, so go through the tables. Then mind maps. What are mind maps? Basically, these are certain diagrammatical representation. Like if you consider endocrinology, okay, so endocrinology, you can imagine there is a body, and in the body you have various glance. Okay, so these are certain mind maps that you can prepare, and these mind maps will actually help you to save time. Okay, and already I told you about mnemonic devices. Okay, definitely go for flowcharts and make sure short notes, because when you are revising before the exam, short notes will really help you to save time. It will help you to quickly go through that particular topic. Okay, so you just need to mention what is important. Okay, only that point should be mentioned in your short notes. So these are some of the smart tricks that you all should follow for clearing CSIR NET exam. Next, so as you all know that there are just 60 days. So Biotechnica has again come up with a very innovative batch for you all, because this batch will prepare you in such a way that you can clear exam in just 60 days. Yes, so this batch is your Raftar batch. So here you will have the important topics, as I mentioned. Okay, not only from the important units, from all the units. So you will have more choice. Okay, so whichever unit you feel that you are comfortable with, you can select that particular unit for CSIR NET exam, the upcoming CSIR NET exam. You will have quick revision sessions. So this batch is starting on 29th of November, and we are targeting for the 29th January 2020. Yes, this batch is going to groom you all for clearing CSIR NET exam that is going to be held on 29 Jan 2022. So who all are ready to take the challenge, who all are ready to just clear the CSIR NET exam in 60 days, so you all are welcome to this Raftar batch, right? So do join this batch. And yes, when 60 days are there, you have to study smartly. Okay, so for that, again, Biotechnica has a lot of options for you all, right? You can go through concept tables. So concept tables are basically where, those topics, like there is a comparison. Okay, you need to know the comparison. What is the difference like between meiosis, mitosis? So there you will, these concept tables are really helpful, right? Then there is concept cloud. So concept cloud will include the various important topics. So once, when you go through this cloud, it will easily help you to remember those topics, and you will get to know what all is important over here. Then Biotechnica has come up with concept wheel, like a wheel has different spokes. So similarly, a particular topic, the various important characteristic or the various important points associated with that particular topic is mentioned in the form of a wheel. So that is what is concept wheel, and really, believe me, it is really helpful. It saves a lot of time. You need not go through and scan through the whole of the textbooks. So these are really handy, and you all will be able to save a lot of time when you prepare by using these smart tricks. You can also use Conceptica Lite. Then we have Conceptica flowchart book. So everything is in a flowchart manner, the various important topics. So it is really helpful. It helps in the retention of the topic. Okay, it can help you in recalling the topic, right? So these are some of the important tools provided by Biotechnica. So it will really help you all to clear CSIR NET in very less and limited time period. So with this, I would stop my talk over here with a motivational note that the key to success is to start before you are ready. So make sure that you all get started from now onwards, and your aim should be to clear CSIR NET exam in just 60 days. Thank you everyone. Now I pass on the controls to Shekhar sir.
All right, looks like we have arrived at the end of the webinar. But hey, this is the start of your preparation. I know in the next 60 days you will pass through a lot of frustration, a lot of demotivations, a lot of questions, a lot of self-doubts. But I want to help you remember one simple thing. Every time you feel frustrated, remember why you started preparing. Because you wanted to become a global scientist, a researcher, a world-class researcher of this country and the world. So pass through those frustration phases. Just don't pay attention to those self-doubts. Just tell yourself you can do it. Okay? Have faith in yourself and tell yourself that you can do it. Biotechnica will keep coming with newer innovations for all of you. Today we talked about AIIMS. We talked about JNU entrance exam. I'm sure you loved it. I hope you will keep coming to us, coming back to us for more webinars and more such informative sessions. But now is the time for some surprise gifts, some goodies and ebooks and PowerPoints, which I'm going to share. So our team will put a link in the chat box now. Okay, that's a feedback form. Please tell us how did we fare? Did you like our session or not? And then we will redirect you to your surprise gift, and I will personally send you the PowerPoint used in this webinar and all the other goodies and surprise gifts via email to you in the next 48 hours. Okay, so thank you so much for attending this webinar, and I will see you in the next one. And remember, this Sunday I'm coming with a special video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and watch that out as well. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.